I would like to welcome all of you, especially some friend that I want to recognize, our Minister, the Honorable Curtis King, Minister of Education and National Reconciliation in San Vincent and the Grenadines, our friend, former Venezuelan Institute for Culture and Cooperation student, Senator, the Honorable Kaiser Peter. She's the Minister of State with responsibility for foreign affairs and foreign trade in San Vincent and the Grenadines. Our professors, Diana Cyrus, Lotier Rose, Nauri San, and Violeta Gutierrez. Thank you very much. I can recognize our friend from Antigua and Barbuda, Blenis Vera Ortiz. ¿Cómo estás, Bleni? Bienvenido. Es a Cuban teacher in San Vincent, in Antigua and Barbuda, that we invite to participate in this activity. And of course, our academic coordinator, the Dr. Andreina Bermudez Di Lorenzo. She is the academic coordinator for the Institute for Culture and Cooperation. On behalf of the Bolivarian government, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, and in particular for this embassy, it is a great honor and satisfaction to say with excitement and strength that we have achieved. And what was achieved, and what have we achieved? You will ask yourself, dear guest, professor, and student of the Venezuelan Institute for Culture and Cooperation. The Venezuelan people have managed to resist the blockade that the United States government has executed since 2015, where Barack Obama decreed the executive order in which Venezuela was classified as an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security of the United States. And with this starting point, I would like to start this word that I want to give you, but in the way to resume what happened in Venezuela with the actual blockade situation. A decree, as I say, that prompted the Trump administration to implement unilateral, coercive, and criminal sanctions since 2017, which has meant the application of more than 150 unilateral coercive measures with the aim of generating a destabilizing climate in the country, leading to the removal of the constitutional government of President Nicolás Maduro. Sanctions against the Venezuelan people have limited the quality of life of the population, despite the fact that these attacks have been repeatedly denounced to the international community. In October 2017, the Swiss bank UBS blockaded funding for the purchase of vaccines, which delayed vaccination program for 4 months. In addition, the international banks blockaded the payment of 8 million euros destined for the acquisition of dialysis supplies, which affected the treatment of 15,000 hemodialysis patients in that year. In November 2017, a total of 23 financial transactions by Venezuela aimed at purchasing food, basic supply, and medicine for $39 million were returned by international banks. In December 2017, transactions were also returned from banks in Europe for $29.7 million to different suppliers, which were destined to pay for food through social programs, Venezuela payment for the coastal trade service for the transport of fuel were blockaded, resulting in a shortage of this product in several states. At least 19 Venezuelan offshore bank accounts were arbitrarily closed by U.S. Bank, preventing payment to creditors, while 471,000 foreign purchase vehicles will be held abroad, whose payments were already made. In January 2018, 11 Venezuelan and PDVSA debt bonds were worth 1,241 million US dollar could not be paid to their creditor. In February 2018, the US Treasury Department expanded financial sanctions against Venezuela by preventing the South American country and its state-owned oil company, PDVSA, from renegotiating our restructuring their debt or restructuring their debt. In March 2018, the Trump administration imposed 6 new coercive measures against the cryptocurrency, a new cryptocurrency, launched by the Venezuelan government to balance the economy by prohibiting debt restructuring and preventing the repatriation of dividends from Cierre Petroleum, a Venezuelan state company. That is the headquarters is in the United States. They also banned any citizen or institution from carrying out financial transactions with the Venezuelan cryptocurrency. By January 2019, the Trump administration issued new sanction, as called by them, against the state-owned Petróleos de Venezuela, PDVSA, which include freezing $7 billion in assets of the subsidiary company Cierre, in addition to an estimated loss of $11 billion from its export over the next few years. The Bank of England also announced the illegal confiscation of $1,359 million in gold from Venezuela, held at, say, banking institution. By August 2019, Trump ordered to block the assets of official entities of the government of Venezuela that are in their country. The decision was imposed after the signing of an executive order which also prohibits transactions with the South American nation. On February 7th, 2020, the US government sanctioned the Venezuelan airline Conviasa. In total, $7 billion has been freezed from the international banks, $3 billion from the Portugal Bank, Novo Bank, and Bank of England. That all just in asset, in money, in coins. Also, the gross domestic product decreased to 63.4% between 2014 and 2019. The unemployment grew by 2 points in the same period to 30%. Despite this action that have sought to suffocate the Venezuelan people by taking away our gold reserve, blocking our all economy and commercial actions that the Bolivarian government has, the Venezuelan government has continued its social agenda to meet the needs of majority Venezuelan by sharing its resources with all other people. Despite this scenario that has made our people suffer, this embassy and its institute have remained standing, demonstrating with dignity that we are a people who resist and work above any obstacle. that despite the scenario of sanction, you, dear student, have received the best in Spanish and Latin American, Caribbean, and Venezuelan culture classes that you could have ever received before. And what I am saying is not a cliche. What I mean is that at this institute, we work collectively and collegially to make the best decisions that have a positive impact on student performance. We offer quality education, provide a permanent cultural exchange space, and implement the principles of brotherhood among our peoples. That is the principle that motivates us to move forward. In this context, we have initiated a great partnership with the Minister of Education and National Reconciliation in various areas and projects that we are planning together with the Bolivarian government to implement this year between 2001 and 2022. Today, we celebrate 55 students who have completed a level of Spanish and Venezuelan culture. Please know, dear student, that we, our Bolivarian government, make an enormous effort to keep the IBCC active, that we are in a very complex situation that is not yet over, where more and more we are increasingly limited by economic resources. Our diplomatic mission in the world have had to adjust and reduce their budget by almost 80% in order to continue to serve our people around the world, in addition to our government's effort to develop inclusive and socialist policies that we share with other countries. The embassy has had to make financial adjustment, so we moved to another house where we joined the residence with the embassy, which allow us to reduce 60% of the. We have been in very difficult time of even having the own monthly payment to our workers because the economic resources did not rise due to the blockade. However, we have overcome those barriers. We still have many challenges to face. And one of them is the development of concrete projects in the area of education, culture, communication, and agroeconomic production in San Vincent and the Grenadines, among others. Finally, and no less important, all of the ways I say before was important, and also the most important is that we keep here working even all those problems. But finally, we invite you to continue to be motivated in learning the Spanish language and Venezuelan culture. We know that online studies could be difficult for some people, but the effort will be compensated. So keep going. As you know, the Bolivarian government is making an important effort to keep the teaching of Spanish, Latin American, Caribbean culture active in San Vincent and the Grenadines. Despite the old blockade and sanctions imposed by the US government against the Venezuelan people, from the Embassy of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela in San Vincent and the Grenadines, we remain committed to strengthening the bonds of friendship among our people, and for which education and culture are key in this regard. Thank you very much. Now, please, the Dr. Andrina Bermudez, she's going to direct some word to you. So you have the floor, Andrina.
Hola, buenas tardes. Otra vez. Hello, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Perez Santana, Francisco Perez Santana. I'd like to welcome uh, one of our students that we have in this term, Mr. Camara Costa. He's also an education officer for modern languages in the curriculum development unit. Also a student in level 5. Also would like to welcome Dr. Harriet Da Silva. She's the Dean of Teacher Education, Division of Teacher Education in St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College. The Embassy of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela in St. Vincent and the Grenadines through the Venezuelan Institute for Culture and Cooperation. I don't know if they are listening to me. Can you hear me? See?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. The Embassy of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela in St. Vincent and the Grenadines through the Venezuelan Institute for Culture and Cooperation, Hugo Chavez Fria, in its commitment to strengthen the ties of friendship between the people of Venezuela and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it's holding the ceremony for the January-March terms 2021. Despite the coercive and unilateral sanctions imposed by the government of the United States of America, which have caused our people to lack access to basic life services such as food, despite how inclement the COVID-19 pandemic has been, killing hundreds of people around the world, the IBCC, by its acronym in Spanish, BICC in English, has kept its academic and cultural spaces active. We have not stopped the march to strengthen the integral formation of Vincentian students. On the contrary, we have made every possible effort to keep the flame of resistance, unity, and integration among other peoples alive, which is the legacy of our commander Hugo Chavez. Since the beginning of the pandemic, the Venezuelan Institute for Culture and Cooperation, following the academic and cultural policy of the Bolivarian government through the Vice Ministry for the Caribbean and following the guidelines and biosafety measures of the Ministry of Education and National Reconciliation of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, made the decision to start a new route that would allow the development of Spanish and Venezuelan culture classes. Thus, in various meetings with the head of Venezuelan diplomatic mission here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Mr. Francisco Perez Santana, and the academic coordinator, and the professor, Diana Cyrus, Lotier Rose, Nauri San, and Violeta Gutierrez, decided to put the virtual classes into practice, which was considered a challenge. This meant a greater effort on the part of the IBCC academic team in regards to the preparation of content that would be useful for the teaching of Spanish and Venezuelan culture, as well as other elements in which the IBCC academic coordination focuses on, such as the search for digital material for this purpose. The students have also done their part. They have been active and interested in learning the Spanish language. They have made every effort to be able to connect to their classes on time, to fulfill the assignments directed by their teachers, and have made this institute a space for the integral development of all. The Venezuelan culture workshops were held with the development of the Afro-Latin American Caribbean Literature Workshop, where students permanently perform reading and comprehension exercises, as well as the music workshop, for which students learn to play the typical Venezuelan instrument, which is the cuatro, as well as increase their learning of Spanish by learning the lyrics of the songs and understanding the content in which they were written. From the conception of the IBCC, we believe in virtual education. However, we consider that for learning the Spanish language, as well as the Latin American, Caribbean, and Venezuelan culture, face-to-face presential spaces are necessary and urgent, because the social cultural interaction of individuals comes from the exchange of experiences, knowledge of feelings that make us human beings. And the Venezuelan culture has a lot of feeling, thinking, sharing, expressing solidarity through cultural and religious manifestations. Venezuelans and Latin Americans express our solidarity and resistance to the contradiction of the world system through song, poetry, and literature. And we really think that without song, without literature, art, and poetry, another world would not be possible. Today, we will enjoy a sample of what our students have learned. They will enjoy it through poetry, songs, and anecdotes about learning the Spanish language, among other activities. This shows that from teaching languages in a dynamic and fun way, it is possible to learn the second most spoken language and one of the most complex languages that exist in the world, around the world. For this reason, on behalf of the academic coordination of the IBCC, we commit ourselves every day to follow the path of humanity and assuming the Bolivarian principle of solidarity and brotherhood as the sense of our actions. We will continue to be committed to the integral formation of Vincentians. We will continue to share our knowledge, our culture, and we will continue to fulfill Commander Chavez's legacy of sharing what we have and not what is left over, which is our knowledge and experiences. The free Spanish and Venezuelan culture classes, and I would like to say not just Venezuelan, Cuban, Puerto Rican, among other cultures, classes offered by the IBCC will continue to be available to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, both in person and online. The IBCC is more than just four walls classroom. It is an academic cultural instrument for the exchange of knowledge in the Caribbean. That is why today we congratulate more than 50 students who have completed their course in different levels of Spanish and Venezuelan culture in the January-March 2021 term. And we invite them to continue studying this language that is very important for the geopolitical consolidation of our people. Let's continue to win. Long live the Vincentian students and teachers. Long live the Venezuelan Institute. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Andreina and Dr. Andreina Bermudez. Now, well, we want to present one of our friend, professor. Let me tell you, all my professors are the best professor around the world, all of them. All of them are women and excellent. They are excellent professors. It's the truth. It's the truth. Now, today we are going to present one of the more happy professor that she's going to give us some remark. Welcome, Professor Nauri-san, to our activity today. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias. I'm just happy. I'm excited to be here. Buenas tardes a todos, bienvenidos a esta especial actividad. I will try my best to do the Spanish and the English. Let's go. So I am happy, as I said before, to have this opportunity. First, I want to give thanks to the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, la República Bolivariana de Venezuela, por esta oportunidad. It's a great blessing, especially for us, the teachers, be able to share with all of you our, not only our language, but our culture, our way of living, the things that we do, why we do this, why we behave this way. All of that is really a blessing for us, the teachers, to be able to do that with you. And I want to give thanks also to you, the students, for giving us the opportunity to share this special time with you. Please take full advantage of this opportunity. As you heard before, all the struggles, all the challenges that Venezuela is going through, and still we have this great institute where you can come and learn Spanish from Spanish people. You know, sometimes you learn Spanish from other Vincentians, and we give God thanks because we have that opportunity. But right now we have 4 or more, because we have Andina and the head of the mission, Francisco Perez, who's there. But we have right now, we have 3 Cubans. Woohoo, go Cuba! We have 1 Puerto Rican. The flags are very similar, so we are in the same area. Go Boricua! And we have this great opportunity where we can come to you and teach. I know it's hard. Trust me, I know it's really hard. This online thing is just very stressing, you know, sometimes stressful. Sorry, sometimes the internet from the devices, but we made it. We made it. We learn new things. We have to be calling, hey, how you do this, how you connect. Like I wanted to do a Zoom with breakout. I have to go, Andrina, how you do it? Google and YouTube, trust me, they were my friends. So we made it. We made it. I am happy that even though at the beginning it was really hard and some people still have trouble, people have to go different places. I have a student that is just, she was working and she was in class, you know, like trying to be there listening, you know. That is what I want you to do. Don't think, oh, it's free, so I just do your best. This is for you. You know, we're doing it for you. At the end of the day, we want you to learn Spanish. It's not to pass the grade, it's not to pass the level, but to learn Spanish. And I have 5 things. Yes, I'm a kindergarten teacher, so I do a lot of, you know, visual things and so on. But I have 5 things that I need you to remember about the Spanish. Número 1, habla, habla, habla. Don't stop speaking. Anywhere you go and you talk to people, it's okay. Even when you speak English, they think you're crazy. Now they speak Spanish, it's okay. Now you have a reason, another reason for people to call you crazy. So habla, habla, habla. Please don't stop. Número 2, no tengas miedo al error. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You are learning. We are learning. Think about children, how long it takes for them to develop the language. They just don't get up one day and speak. It takes a while. So don't be afraid. You make mistakes, get up and try again, and get up and do it until you get there. Número 3, mira televisor en español y escucha música en español. As much as you can, please listen to Spanish music, look at TV in Spanish. The first, the third, the second, whatever time, it's going to be hard for you because it's a new language and your ear has to get accustomed to it, but you will get it. Trust me, you will get it. The same way we got the English and we're still trying because sometimes there are words that are hard for us Spanish people, but we don't stop. We just keep trying. And then when people correct it, just take that and you know what, let me try it. So, número 3, habla mucho televisor en español. 4 ahora. Ya perdí la cuenta. I'm sorry. So, número 4. Lee. Don't stop reading. Don't stop reading. Anything you see in Spanish, even if you don't understand what is there, just read. It helps your pronunciation, your new words, vocabulary. Don't stop. Just as soon as you type something in Google, in Spanish, read it. And número 5, enjoy the language. Aprende, disfruta el español, ten paciencia. Just have a good time. Don't look at it, oh my goodness, I have to do this. Yes, there will be challenges, there will be trouble, but enjoy this. And think about this, you're doing this for you. I am learning a new language, and this is for me. You may use it after for work, for traveling, for whatever reasons, but you're doing this for you. So please enjoy the Spanish, okay? and don't think, okay, I want a good Spanish. You have to get it. You have to work for it. It's not something that you go, okay, I'm coming to class, I did this and put it down. No, you have to keep trying. So that's all I want to tell you today. Please enjoy this great opportunity that is given to all of us, especially us, the teacher, that we can share with you our culture, our language, our way of our life, and then that you have as students to learn something new. Muchas gracias a todos y nos vemos. Felicidades al nivel 1, felicidades al nivel 3, al 4, al 5, todos. Muchas felicidades. Gracias, gracias, gracias.
Thank you very much, our professor, a happier professor, Naori-san. Before continuing, I would like to give a special greeting to our colleague, friend, a master in diplomacy, the Ambassador Carmen Velasquez from Antigua and Barbuda. She's here. Raise your hand. Carmen, thank you very much to being here. Raise your hand, yes. Thank you. And well, now we have to give the floor to a young minister, very young minister here, but with so much experience in the area that he is minister. Is no other than Minister, the Honorable Curtis King. He was professor, headmaster. Well, he knows and he has education experience a lot, so much, I have to say. So thank you very much, Minister, to be with us. And of course, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Santana, and a pleasant good afternoon to all my friends and comrades, the students, Senator Peters, the professors from the program. I noticed Professor Rose, and one I know, our Cuban teacher, friend in Antigua, and of course, the students who would have participated over the last 3 months or so in this wonderful program. I am young as a minister, but I think some of my colleagues there might challenge you if you said that I'm young, meaning that I'm very youthful. I'm youthful only in terms of perhaps my ideas, but after having 37 or so years in the education system, I think I have earned my stripes to be considered one who is now in the senior department of our education system, and thus I look forward to the challenge. But first, I want to thank the Embassy and the Venezuelan Institute for Culture and Cooperation for one, inviting me to share with you this afternoon, and secondly, for continuing to provide our Vincentian students with this wonderful opportunity to learn the very important language of Spanish. And you have been doing this for some time now, so we are very grateful. I want also to commend the students. Most of them, I am told, are young adults, but certainly I want to commend our students for taking that opportunity to learn Spanish, whether it's as a second language or another language. So as far as I'm concerned, once you embark on this road, you are doing so on a very positive, you're taking a very positive approach to your own development. And for that, again, I want to commend you. Now, this activity is being held against the background of the Carabobo, I think that's how you pronounce it, Carabobo, yes, battle that took place almost 200 years ago, around April 19th, 1821. And the history text tells us that basically this battle was a defining moment in the war for independence waged not only by the Venezuelan people, but by the South American people on a whole. And I want therefore to congratulate the Venezuelan people on this very important anniversary. But I also want to point out something significant that I note in terms of what resulted, so to speak, from that battle. We said that it was a defining moment in the war for independence. But when we look at what the great hero and visionary champion of the South American people, Simon Bolivar, the liberator, when we look at what Bolivar and his comrades did in terms of the Declaration of Independence, when we look at the document, the Constitution, which they put forward, it points to some very telling points that I want to just make a couple reference to in comparison to the other great revolution at the time. Now, very importantly, that document outlawed slavery. It said that the enslavement of one man by another man was illegal. And in that time, we all know that the slavery that was being referred to was chattel slavery, the enslavement of the African. Secondly, that document exempted the indigenous people from paying tribute. And those of us with a keen sense of our history know that the extraction of tributes from the indigenous people was one of the weapons used to enslave those people as well as to reduce their population. Thirdly, and very importantly, the Constitution eliminated or in many respects reduced trade barriers between what was then the Spanish colonies, but certainly in a war of independence, the warring states for independence. And fourthly, that conference or that declaration, the leaders decided to send envoys to the United Kingdom and to the United States of America. Now, I identify those things because, in a sense, those ideals as enshrined back then are still very much the target for which the Venezuelan people and, by extension, people throughout the development world are still aiming. And when I look, for example, at the other great revolution, that of the 13 colonies in North America and their famous Declaration of Independence, when one looks at their document and you compare them, the differences are striking, despite the fact that they too were saying it is time that they rid themselves the oppression from the colonial masters. This time, the colonial masters of the United Kingdom, England. Unlike South America, where the colonial masters were the Spanish. But I want to look at their document. In their document, the black man was considered not as a full human, but 60%. That document did not outlaw slavery. Additionally, the indigenous peoples were not even considered humans because they were not recognized in the Constitution. And certainly in the case of the women, they were even further marginalized in the sense that they basically were to be seen and not heard because they had no rights where politics was concerned. But I thought that I should mention this because today, Venezuela is still struggling to rid itself of foreign domination. Today, Venezuela is still struggling for the right to decide on a path which brings development to its own people without interference from others. And earlier, we heard all the obstacles that have been put in the way of Venezuela in their quest to achieve their own development. The ambassador spoke about the embargoes and so on. And even now, as we speak, we know that there are foreigners involved in an attack, violent military attack on the Venezuelan people. But despite all of these challenges, Venezuela has maintained its international solidarity with the people of the Caribbean, with the people of Latin America. And one has to commend Venezuela because despite all the challenges, it is yet seeking to make the world a better place for all of us. It is not the same as we recognize even today, where we are faced with a pandemic and the rich countries are in fact engaged in a selfish move to ensure that they keep the vaccines that are so important to mitigate against the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, all for themselves. In fact, it would appear that they would consider you once their people have had their vaccine. That is a selfish move that runs counter to the spirit of internationalism, partnership, cooperation. And we cannot see that in the case of Venezuela. And that is why I want to thank the government and people of Venezuela for their continued support to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and of course, many other countries. I'm not going to list all the wonderful programs that we would have been able to achieve with the support received from Venezuela, whether it was through Petrocarib and our establishment of a social investment fund, or whether it is through ALBA, which continue to ensure that we have cooperation of developmental nature, including education, and providing us with the opportunity to study in Venezuela. So I thought it necessary that I paint the backdrop to which this activity is being held. and to mention the magnanimous support that St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the other Caribbean territories continue to enjoy in our relationship with the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Now, we are indeed in very challenging time. And obviously, I can see, given your numbers, that your program also faces a similar challenge. That the program started with about 90 or 90 plus students, but you are now down to 55 students, suggesting that the modality used, online instruction, do present some challenges to the students. It is the same challenge that we have in our formal education system, where students, having been forced to rely on remote learning, in particular online instructions, have met great challenges in terms of connectivity, the internet, lack of devices, some of the younger students, and of course, the general with, one minute please. Yes, thanks. The general challenges that emerge from this sort of instruction, that is online instruction. So I'm not surprised that your dropout rates seem to be high, because I believe these challenges would have forced some of the students to drop out. But it is a challenge that we all have to conquer. We have to work hard to ensure that we mitigate against such high levels of dropout, because let us face it, as has been said over and over, we are going to have similar challenges to the one that we are having now in the future. And what is important is that we build our education with a focus on resilience, so that when these challenges emerge, we would be in a position to continue our education rather seamlessly, reaching many more students than we do today. I have no doubt that nevertheless, your program was a most interesting one. Look, when we look at the whole idea of teaching Spanish and learning Spanish, we do so in a framework where Spanish has emerged over the years as one of the most important language throughout the world. The records would show that it is one of the 6 languages of the United Nations. It is an official language in Europe, but significantly for us as Caribbean people, most of the countries around us speak Spanish. And not only that, for those who are thinking of working or studying and living in the United States, there is a significant large number of persons who could be described as Spanish speaking in the United States. So much so that Spanish today in the USA is the second most popular for the major languages. Similarly, I was reading the independent newspaper out of the United Kingdom, and that paper was reporting that the British Council has identified Spanish as the most important non-English language for the British citizens to adopt. So I'm saying Spanish is important, and it is important for many reasons. For personal growth and development. It is also important because it is emerging and has emerged as a major language throughout the world and in and around us. And therefore, there are many opportunities associated with this language for employment, for studying, and so on. And therefore, the individuals know that by choosing to do Spanish, they are putting themselves in a good position to one day take advantage of the many opportunities for studies and employment. So again, I wish to commend these learners. But back to the program, I was told by a former student that the program is done in such a manner that you want to continue. I was told that the teachers are very friendly, and as such, you feel a sense of welcome. And the student-friendly nature of the program adds to the great level of success, where every unit, each unit is done, you are tested. That is important. More importantly, you're learning the language through the culture of the country, and that in itself is also significant. So again, I would hope that despite the many challenges, that we would be able to continue that program, and the Institute will be in a position to develop it further, so that perhaps down the road you should be looking to have developed a true language institute where you could further expand the teaching and program offered right now by your organization. But certainly we here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are very grateful for your effort. I want to point out though that the ambassador did mention some areas of cooperation with our education department here. And we look forward to strengthening that relationship so that we could have greater opportunities for collaboration. I know as the recently appointed Minister of Education, I've been looking at some of the areas in which we are fairly weak. I say weak because not that they are new, but certainly our efforts thus far have not been as significant as in other areas. I mentioned here in the interest of time, special education. We are in fact now emphasizing education for living and production. Education that is lifelong. Education that should focus equally on each learner so that no learner, no child will be left behind. We have arrived at this position because prior to, I would say, 2010, our focus was a lot on reform in our education system. Reform to ensure that we had greater access. Reform to ensure that we had greater equity, access to institutions, equity in terms of each institution being endowed with certain resources that would allow the student living in that area who choose to go to that institution would not be deprived in any way. But significantly, while we have moved now to promote the whole idea of lifelong education, the whole idea of no child left behind, there is in fact a sector that we must reach. And in my humble estimation, we are not doing so the sort of numbers, consistency that we ought to. I'm talking about those persons who are in need of special education. And therefore, it is one of the area of focus that I want to put some attention, I want to put some effort in. And I know I've been holding discussions with friends from Cuba as to how we can enhance our special education program. And I have no doubt if that level of support, technical or otherwise, is residing are residing in the Venezuelan Institute, that we look forward to working with you so that we could enhance our program for special education students. I mean, I look at basic things. We are presently looking at enhancing some of our schools, because when you visit a number of our institutions in this country, as basic as something as a ramp to take students or teachers from one level to the other level because they are physically challenged is absent. And in this modern period, when we are talking about no learner, no child left behind, we can't have a situation where we could continue in that way. And of course, there are other significant elements, those learning difficulties that students possess, and we speak about all the time, but we need to go beyond speaking and provide the resources to deal with some of these difficulties so that the mantra of no child, no learner left behind could be more meaningful. And certainly, as I'm saying, it is an area that I wish to see some collaboration, some cooperation with friendly countries, and Venezuela being one of those countries. In closing, I want to speak briefly to the whole issue of returning to face-to-face instruction. I do this because I sense that there's some level of synergy between what you do at the Institute and our broader educational system, because I believe your term is more or less aligned to our, and just as we have to move to remote learning, online instruction, you had to do the same. So I suspect that now we are talking about returning to school for face-to-face instruction, that would be an issue that you also will be dealing with. Now, we don't have to debate anymore the fact that our students have, in general, experienced a significant loss in their learning, in their education. I mean, that is already established. So, if only because of the loss in education, if that is the only reason, then we ought to return to school. But we recognize that returning to school will be influenced significantly by our ability to provide the necessary infrastructure that would cause persons to feel a sense of confidence that they would be returning to an environment which will not be detrimental to their health. So I'm saying health in the COVID-19 pandemic era is significant and will determine whether or not we return to school, how we return to school, and in what numbers we return to school. And presently, those are the issues we are dealing with from the Ministry of Education. We have set up a task force to look at that, and we are working to ensure that whenever April 12 arrives, we would be in a position to more or less provide persons not with a guarantee that their health would be perfect, but certainly provide them with confidence that they could return to the school environment, knowing that everything would have been done within our resources to ensure that they are comfortable and the issues confronting their health are mitigated. Even as we speak of the impact of COVID-19, though, we also have to recognize that we have two other challenges, that of dengue fever, which is still very much with us, and secondly, the threat of an explosive eruption of the La Soufrière volcano. At present, it is continuing to erupt effusively, and let us hope that it continues so for a long time if it has to erupt. But as we have said over and over again, we are planning for the worst, but praying for the best. So I just thought that I should share those concerns, because just as they are impacting on our own ability to return to face-to-face instruction, we do believe that in some ways they might very well also impact on your own ability to return to face-to-face instruction. But in closing, again, I want to thank very much the Institute, the ambassador, our friends, for this wonderful program. And I am praying that you would continue this program, because you are in fact helping us, because it is absolutely necessary for our people to have a second language, or I like to put it on another language, because the world in which we live, we know, is no longer limited to the small shows that we are on, but it is global and opportunities are everywhere. And while we want our people to stay here and develop our country, we do recognize that sometimes they have to leave. What is important is that they maintain their contacts and they maintain their love for the country and make their contribution towards its development. And therefore, we are very happy that you have embarked on this program. Long may it remain so. And I once again reiterate our government's support for the government and people of Venezuela in your quest to find a developmental path that would provide the sort of development that your people yearn for. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much. Very educative and instructive words. Now, Andrina, we are moved in the program, in our program. Please, you will present some video.
Okay. We would like to share a video about a poem that the students who are involved with the Afro-Latin American Caribbean Literature Workshop have been working. They did one version some weeks ago. This one I think that is better than the other one. Okay, so adelante.
Por aquí pasó compadre, aquellos montes lejos, por aquí vestida de humo la brisa que cruzó ardiendo fue silbo de tierra libre, entre su manta y sus sueños fue silbo de tierra libre, entre su manta y sus sueños.
Por aquí pasó, compadre, hacia aquellos montes lejos. Por aquí vestida de humo, el huracán que iba ardiendo fue silbo de tierra libre, entre su manta y sus sueños.
Mírele el rastro y la paja. Míreselo, compañero.
Como las claras carrujas en el terrenal reseco, como en las mesas el pozo, como en el caño el lucero, como la casa en el onco, como en la tarde los vuelos, como la nieve en el pico, como en la noche el sendío.
Como el león en la carga, como la casa en el río, como en la peña la espuma, como el rocío en el pétalo, como el cucuyo en el aire, como la luna en el médano, como el potro en el escudo y el tricolor en el cielo.
Por aquí pasó, compadre, hacia aquellos montes lejos.
Grave perfil aguileño, a son de cuero tostado, todillo de bravo pecho.
Bandera va su capa, su caballo de puntero, vaquiano volando rumbos, artista labrando pueblo, hombre retoñando patrias, picando glorias tropero.
Óigale la voz tendida sobre el resol de los médanos. La voz que grito más hondo. Óigasela, compañera.
Como el son de las guaruras, cuando pasan los arrieros, como la brisa en la palma, como el águila en el ceibo, como el cuatro en el alero.
Como el eco en las tonadas, como el compás en el remo, como el tiro en asalto, como el toro en el rodeo.
Como el relincho en el alba, como el casco en el estero, como la pina en la cantar.
Por aquí pasó, compadre, hacia aquellos montes lejos.
Por aquí pasó compadre, hacia aquellos montes lejos, por aquí vestida de humo la brisa que cruzó ardiendo fue silbo de tierra libre, entre su manta y sus sueños fue silbo de tierra libre, entre su manta y sus sueños. Por aquí pasó compadre, hacia aquellos montes lejos, por aquí vestida de humo la brisa que cruzó ardiendo.
¡Bravo! Shakil, Peter, Shenaya, Cindy, Perro, Maurice. Muy bien. Now let's welcome, as I said at the beginning of this activity, one of our friends. She's a former student from the Venezuelan Institute, and now she's a Senator, the Honorable Kaisel Peters. But she would like to speak, to give some remarks, to share with us some remarks as a former student. Welcome.
Gracias. Thank you. Pleasant good evening to everyone. I am very happy to be here, always happy to be here with you. I wish I were physically with you all, but this is a stark reminder of the COVID-19 pandemic and the effects it has had on the world. I wish to say though, on the flip side, although we are meeting in this virtual platform, it is also testament to the resilience of our nations, Venezuela and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and our ability to stand with each other, whether virtually, physically, politically, socially. We always stand in solidarity with other, and I wish to reiterate that on behalf of the people and the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And, I am amazed that in true Bolivarian fashion, the Venezuelan Institute has been able to continue to impart linguistic knowledge and cultural knowledge to its students despite the many challenges of COVID and the limitations that COVID would have caused. And, I wish to congratulate the Institute, the lecturers and the students for coming together and, ensuring that this term ended on a successful note and that we are here looking at this cultural presentation. It's very remarkable, and I wish to offer hearty congratulations. Unfortunately, well, the Prime Minister, as you know, is out of state and he's not able to join us today, but he, as always, sends his greetings to the government and people of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. So once again, thank you for having me. And well, I just enjoyed that last presentation and I am looking forward to what this evening has to offer. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kesa Peters, for giving us this beautiful and motivated words that motivate us to keep working so hard. And also thank you so much all the students. We have now 62 people connected in this beautiful meeting. So congratulations. Okay, now let's welcome lecture one of the project that we have been working since a couple of years, which is the Cuatro workshop. Some of the students, they have been, interested in playing the Venezuelan traditional instrument that we have in our country. It is not easy. They are doing their best. And this is a beautiful song that they prepared. This song is El Despertar de la Historia by Ali Primero. Ali Primero is one of the most important singer, songwriter that we have in Venezuela. And we really, because Ali Primera has, their lyrics, his lyrics are very important as a social, cultural, and other issue that we have to take into account. I mean, Venezuelan people, also Latin American and Caribbean people. So, vamos a darle la bienvenida a Chenaya, a Cindy y a Terro. Adelante. Sí, perfecto.
Hola a todos y todas. Los y las estudiantes del taller de cuatro venezolano interpretamos la canción El despertar de la historia del cantautor Ali Primera. Esta canción la dedicamos al pueblo venezolano por la resistencia que ha tenido en defensa de los derechos de su pueblo contra las sanciones imperialistas. Hello everyone, the students of the Venezuelan Cultural Workshop will present the song El Despertar de la Historia by singer and songwriter Ali Primera. We dedicate this song to the people of Venezuela for the resistance they have had in defense for the rights of their people against the imperialist sanctions.
piel de caballo, la historia dormía y se despertó. Estirando los brazos, abría su boca de siglo y nos preguntó. Preguntó, ¿cuál es la lucha de los otros para lograr la paz? Igual paz, si quien deja el mundo como está. Ayúdela, que sea humana, la humanidad. Soñaba con aves, también despertó. Flores de sangre son aves de corazón, tal y como está. ¿Cuál es la lucha de los hombros para lograr la paz? Igual paz, si quien deja el mundo como está. Ayúdela, ayúdela, que sea humana la humanidad. Ayúdela, ayúdela, que sea humana la humanidad. Nosotros hagamos la historia y otras las escriban en un mundo mejor. Busca la lucha dentro por transformar el mundo. Significa amor. Ayúdala, ayúdala, que sea humana la humanidad. Ayúdala, que sea humana la humanidad.
Nosotros hagamos la historia y otras las escriban en un mundo mejor. Busca las luchas dentro por transformar el mundo. Significa amor.
¡Bravo! Muy bien. Bravo, bravo, Cindy, Terron, Shenaya. No veo a Cindy por allí ni a Shenaya, pero están conectadas. Now, let's give the floor to the student from level 1A, the student from Professor Nauri Sam. They will share with us a beautiful poem that they wrote. And this is very important, student in the first level. They created their own poem. It's called Adiós al nivel 1. Goodbye, level 1 is the name of the poem. Adelante, Nauri, adelante.
Landa, ¿estás
Okay,
lista?
good night.
You ready?
Yes,
Okay.
please. Yes, please. I apologize for any breeze or any vehicle passing because I'm outside. Adiós al nivel 1. Hoy terminamos el nivel 1 y recordamos muy contentos. Tantas cosas que aprendimos, tantos alegres momentos. Las alas nos han crecido y en español ya puedo hablarte. Emprenderé un nuevo camino. Español en mi corazón voy a llevarte. Celebremos todos juntos. Nivel 1 ya terminamos. Celebremos todos juntos, que a segundo ya nos vamos. Gracias.
Arriba, nivel 1. ¡Woohoo!
Muy bien. Bye, level 2. Okay. Now, we will give the floor to the student from level 1B. And I'm really sure, estoy segurísima, que, I don't know how to say, la piel se les va a erizar. You will feel very happy and motivated because they did, and I would like to say something, when I received this video, I almost cried. And I ran very quick to my husband to share this beautiful, because this video was also edited and made by the students. So Otto, I think that you are connected. And all the ladies that appear in this video, congratulations, because this is what we ask the students to do. Not just record the video, you have also to join what you know and to make your own production. So I think, of course, not just the Cuban professors, but also Latin American, Caribbean people, okay? Adelante.
Yo soy un hombre sincero, de donde crece la palma. Yo soy un hombre sincero, de donde crece la palma. Y antes de morir me quiero echar mis besos de alma. Guantanamera, Guantanamera.
Mi Dios estuviera claro y de un carmín encendido. Mi Dios estuviera claro y de un camino encendido. Mi Dios es un cielo que busco en el monte amado. Guantanamera, consigo una rosa blanca en junio como en enero. Consigo una rosa blanca en junio como en enero. Para el amigo sincero que mire su naufragio. de la tierra, quedaron mis fechas, con los bebés de la tierra, quedaron mis fechas, quedaron de la sirena, mi cómplice más de
Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira,
Bravo, bravo. Hay algo que se me está metiendo aquí. ¿Ah?
¡Bravo! ¡Arriba! Thank you so much, students from level 1B and Professor Violeta and all the teachers that we have in our Venezuelan Institute. You are the best. I cannot say anything. Okay, let's give the floor to the student from level 3. Student from Professor Narizam. They will present, they will share a presentation that they prepare in PowerPoint. They will talk about Semana Santa, a propósito de Easter season. So they will present this one in Spanish. Okay? So welcome students from level, bienvenidos y bienvenidas estudiantes del nivel 3. Arriba.
Sorry, I think I was translating in the wrong channel, but I did translate it. He was recommended.
Buenas a todos, soy Cierre de nivel 3 y voy a presentar la fiesta hispana de la Semana Santa. ¿Qué es la Semana Santa? La Semana Santa es una fiesta cristiana anual que celebra la semana antes de Pascua. Este año se celebrará del 28 de marzo al 3 de abril. La Semana Santa se compone de Domingo de Ramos, Lunes Santo, Miércoles Santo, Jueves Santo, Viernes Santo y Sábado Santo. Donde se celebra la Semana Santa. La Semana Santa se celebra en todo el mundo, pero las actividades en España, Guatemala, Perú y otros países hispanos son bien conocidos. Aquí hay una foto de las celebraciones en Guatemala. ¿Qué pasa durante la Semana Santa? Generalmente, las personas asisten a los servicios y desfiles para recordar los últimos días de Cristo. La gente decora sus calles y casas con hojas de palmera para el Domingo de Ramos en Guatemala. En lugares como Antigua en Guatemala, los residentes pasan arena, flores y plantas en las calles para preparar coloridas. En España, Guatemala y México y otros países, hay grandes desfiles con carrozas o los santos. Estas carrozas pesan varios miles de libras y necesitan al menos 80 personas para transportarlas. En España, la noche entre Jueves Santo y Viernes Santo se llama la madruga. Hay procesiones, dulces y pasteles. La primera foto a la derecha es una alfombra en Antigua y la siguiente foto es una carroza de Jesús con su cruz en España. ¿Cómo se compara 9 mañanas con la Masada? Ambos festivales tienen orígenes cristianos y ocurren cada año. También ambos festivales se celebran durante un tiempo para recordar a Cristo. Y en las diferencias, la Semana Santa se celebra durante the last slide, please. Gracias. La Semana Santa se celebra durante Pascua, mientras 9 mañanas se celebra durante Navidad. La Semana Santa se celebra en muchos países, pero 9 mañanas se celebra solo en San Vicente. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Jackson, Saraya. Bien, nivel 1 y wow, qué nivel de lectura, profesora. No, nivel 1 no, sorry, nivel 3, profesora Nauri Sam. Gracias, gracias por recrearnos sobre la Semana Santa, Easter season. Now, vamos a darle la bienvenida. Now, let's welcome a student from level 4. Today we have two kind of presentation, one in a virtual way, I mean video, and also she will do presentations. I don't know if Nerissa está aquí. Bienvenida, Nerissa. Los estudiantes del nivel 4 presentan poemas latinoamericanos. Students from level 4, they present Latin American poems. Nerissa?
Sí,
Nerissa?
estoy
Okay.
aquí.
Nerissa will present a poem from Nicolás Guillén, right, Nerissa?
Sí, estoy aquí.
Ok, adelante, Nerissa.
Gracias. Buenas noches a todas y todos. El poema que van a escuchar se llama No sé por qué piensas tú. Fue escrito por Nicolás Guillén Batista, un poeta cubano, y trata sobre la igualdad y la unidad de gentes. No sé por qué piensas tú, soldado, que te odio yo. Si somos la misma cosa, yo, tú. Tú eres pobre, lo soy yo. Soy de abajo, lo eres tú. ¿De dónde has sacado tú, soldado, que te odio yo? Me duele que a veces tú te olvides de quién. Me duele que a veces tú te olvides de quién soy yo. Caramba, si yo soy tú, lo mismo que tú eres yo. Pero no por eso he de mal quererte tú. Si somos la misma cosa, yo, tú, no sé por qué piensas tú, soldado, que te odio yo. Ya nos veremos, yo y tú, juntos en la misma calle, hombro con hombro, tú y yo, sin odios, ni yo ni tú. Pero sabiendo tú y yo, a dónde vamos yo y tú. No sé por qué piensas tú, soldado, que te odio yo.
Muy bien, Melissa. Muchas gracias, Melissa. Bravo. Ahora vamos a darle la bienvenida. Let's welcome the other poem from Ali Primera, the Venezuelan writer and song sister. The poem is Esconderse en la Flor by, well, in this case, Cindy is presenting this performance.
No me pidan poemas de amor cuando quiero cantar la verdad. Es la vida la que hay que enfrentar. Yo no puedo esconderla en la flor.
No me pidan poemas de amor cuando quiero cantar la verdad. Es la vida la que hay que enfrentar. Yo no puedo esconderla en la flor. Los hombres que caminan y el frío que corta los harapos de los pobres del mundo para bañar su cuerpo no puede ser un poema de amor. No me pidan poemas de amor cuando quiero cantar la verdad. Es la vida la que hay que enfrentar. Yo no puedo esconderla en la flor. El niño que mamanta en las tetas resecas de la madre del tiempo con canciones de lucha. Quiero ver crecer con canciones de lucha, con canciones de pan y por menos sufrir. Le cantaré a los hombres con guitarra y fusil. Yo me siento feliz con mi canto, porque son manos de obrero, y ellas quiero ser yo. Las plantas de los pies del que anduvo descalzo, de tanto aldar el mundo se volvieron canción. No me pidan poemas de amor cuando quiero cantar la verdad. Es la vida la que hay que enfrentar. Yo no puedo esconderla en la flor.
No me pidan poemas de amor cuando quiero cantar la verdad. Es la vida la que hay que enfrentar. Yo no puedo esconderla en la flor.
¡Bravo! ¡Bravo! Melissa, bravo, Cindy. Bravo, profesora Lotier. ¡Qué bonito! I would like to say that most of these samples that we are enjoying this evening, most of them were the oral exam that some of the students presented last week. So this is what, just a sample that what the teachers work with the students, teaching them the Spanish, okay? Spanish language. Now, let's welcome a student from level 5. So we have another video, and this is a very nice and interesting activity because we have two students that are presenting this video. One of them is Atia Stephens. Hola Atia, buenas noches. And Mr. Kamara Foster. Both of them are in level 5, and they talk about some anecdotes that they had some time ago. And it has to be with misunderstanding when we speak in their cases in Spanish. And also it could happen that, Spanish speakers, when we make some mistakes when we speak. Okay, so I hope that you enjoy this video, and also congratulate in advance Professor Violeta.
Hola, mi nombre es Atia Stephens, una estudiante de la clase nivel 5. Este trimestre, mi aprendizaje de la lengua estuvo muy interesante. Tuve la oportunidad para mejorar mi conocimiento y crear un portafolio que ha incluido varios temas en español. Hoy voy a compartir una anécdota que haya ocurrido durante mi aprendizaje del idioma español. Un malentendido. Cuando estuve en la clase nivel 4 en el Instituto de Venezuela, ocurrió un evento donde había un malentendido de una palabra en español. Específicamente, una estudiante confundió decir esta palabra. En esa época, la señora Rose era profesora de la clase. Nosotros utilizamos el verbo tener para explicar nuestros sentimientos. Así, por ejemplo, tener frío y tener sed. Mi oración estuvo correcto. Dije que tuve sed porque durante el día no bebí mucha agua. Afortunadamente, otra estudiante dijo, hoy solo desayuné, así que ahora tengo hambre. Había 6 estudiantes en la clase y todos reímos a la estudiante. Como resultado, la estudiante avergonzada corrió fuera de la clase. Inmediatamente, la señora Rose salió de la clase para consolar a esta estudiante. 15 minutos después, los dos regresaron a la clase, pero la estudiante estaba todavía triste. Por eso nos disculpamos con ella. La señora Rose nos explicó que tenía muchas experiencias donde estudiantes usaron hambre en vez de hambre. También ella explicó las diferencias donde hambre, hombre y hombro, porque son palabras gente confunde mucho. Y total que aprendí unas lecciones valiosas de esta experiencia. 1. No repetiría una acción que avergüenza otras personas. Y 2. Aprendí cómo se dice shoulder en español. Pienso que la situación ocurrió porque las palabras hambre y hombre son muy similares. Por eso es muy fácil confundir la pronunciación. Espero que ustedes han disfrutado de mi historia. El fin. Adiós.
Buenas tardes a todos, soy Camara Foster, estudiante del nivel 5, y hoy voy a decirles una anécdota ocurrida en el aprendizaje de la lengua española. En el verano de 2006, fui a Colombia por un mes para participar en un programa de intercambio académico con la Universidad de Barranquilla. No hablaba mucho en clase porque no era fuerte en español. Sin embargo, mi amiga colombiana Isabel siempre quería llevarme a la ciudad para mostrarme la facilidad de usar mi español en la vida real. Un día, mientras que estábamos en un centro comercial, yo quería buscar los zapatos baratos, pero de buena calidad. En el escaparate de una tienda que se llama Gucci, vi unos zapatos muy lindos y decidí entrar. Sin embargo, Isabel no quería venir conmigo, pero insistí porque los zapatos eran muy atractivos. 2 minutos después de entrar, yo quería salir. Me di cuenta de que fue una tienda para los ricos. Al salir de la tienda, susurré rápidamente a Isabel: ¿por qué no me diste que los zapatos son caros aquí? De repente, ella comenzó a reír. Luego me respondió: trate de decirte antes de entrar, hermano, que los zapatos son caros. Ella continuó a reír en voz más alta, diciéndome: Gucci hace carros, ¿no? Gucci hace carros, ¿no? Muchas gracias.
¡Bravo! Muy bien. Qué buen ejercicio, excelente. Profesora, lo tiene, me encanta la anécdota que tuvieron con ustedes, contigo. Muy bien, felicitaciones nivel 5. Ahora vamos a darle la bienvenida. Let's welcome, let's give the floor to the students from level 6, student from Professor Diana Cyrus. Bienvenida, Cherise Brown. Cherise, ¿estás por allí?
Sí, estoy aquí.
Ok. Cherise nos va a leer un cuento corto. El cuento se llama El bombero amable.
Buenas noches a todos y todas. Soy Cherise y estoy en nivel 6. En nivel 6 estuvimos estudiando cómo escribir cuentos cortos, donde escogimos un personaje, un problema y un escenario. Mi cuento corto se llama El bombero amable. Había una vez un bombero valiente y amable que se llamaba Diego. A Diego le encantaba su trabajo porque le gustaba ayudar a la gente. Un día, en la estación de bomberos donde Diego trabajaba, fueron llamados a apagar un incendio en medio de un bosque a las afueras de la ciudad. Los bomberos, incluyendo a Diego, estaban asustados porque había una bruja que vivía en ese bosque. Sin embargo, el trabajo de los bomberos era apagar incendios y por eso manejaron muy rápido al bosque. Cuando llegaron a la pequeña casa en el bosque, vieron que algunos de los árboles cerca de la casa estaban en llamas y había una viejera tirando cubos de agua a los árboles. Inmediatamente, los bomberos comenzaron a apagar el incendio. finalmente lo pudieran apagar. La vieja les ofreció algunas manzanas de su árbol para agradecerles por salvar sus árboles. Los otros bomberos no quisieron tomar las manzanas de la bruja, pero Diego, que siempre era amable, las aceptó. La bruja le dijo: muchísimas gracias. Cuando regreses a casa, planta una manzana en tu jardín. Diego hizo lo que le dijo la bruja y a la mañana siguiente había un manzano en su jardín. Desde entonces siempre había manzanas muy deliciosas en el árbol. Y Diego siempre recordaba ser amable con todos.
Cherise presented a short story, right? Friendly firefighter. Gracias, Cherise. Muy bonita la moraleja, además. Kevin, ¿está por allí?
Sí, estoy aquí.
Oh, muy bien, Kevin. Bienvenido, buenas noches.
Buenas noches todo el mundo.
Kevin va a leer uno de los cuentos del libro Cuentos del Arañero. Kevin will read some story that there is in one of the book that is about our Commander Chavez life, and it's named Cuentos del Arañero. Arañero because Chavez used to be named as Arañero. Ok, Kevin, bienvenido, adelante.
Sí. Este es una pequeña muestra de los cuentos de Arañero contados por Hugo Chávez Frías. Este cuento se titula El Arañero. El Arañero. Ustedes saben que yo vendía arañas. Desde niño, más o menos, tengo noción de lo que es la economía productiva y cómo vender algo, cómo colocar en un mercado. Mi abuela terminaba las arañas y yo salía disparado. ¿Para dónde iba a coger? ¿Para el cementerio? Estaría loco. Allá estaba a lo mejor una señora acomodando una tumba, a lo mejor un entierro. Si había un entierro, entonces yo aprovecharía, ¿verdad? Pero no. ¿Para dónde? Para el bolo. Más de una vez, mi papá me regañó. ¿Qué haces tú por aquí? Vendiendo arañas, papá. Todas las tardes a las 5 se veían allá los hombres del pueblo. Mi papá jugaba bolos porque él es zurdo y lanzaba bien. En el bolo yo vendía la mitad y después para el cine. La concentración pues en la Plaza Bolívar. A la salida de la misa estaba yo, mire, con mi bichito aquí, arañas calientes, no sé qué más. Y le agregaba coplas, arañas calientes para las viejas que no tienen dientes, arañas sabrosas para las muchachas buenamosas, cosas así. Arañas calientes, araña dulce, para no sé qué. Yo inventaba, ya casi me olvidaron las coplas. A las muchachas yo les cantaba. Dígame si salía por ahí Ernestina Zanetti. Ah, yo le cantaba. Ernestina Zanetti Telma González de las bonitas del pueblo. Entonces vendía mis arañas ahí donde estaba el mercado y la concentración.
Araña caliente para las viejas que no tienen dientes.
De nada.
Tradúcelo. I would like to invite students, if you can get with the professor, you can get this, or by myself, I mean. This book is very interesting, and also you will enjoy when you read this book. Of course, you have to understand some context from Venezuela, and also particularly from Hugo Chavez. He had a very particular way, to say what his experiences that he had. Okay, now we will present, before we are almost ending this beautiful ceremony, And we would like to give the floor to one of the students. She's Aquila Kitchen. She's in level 4, and she will give some remarks on behalf of the students from the Venezuelan Institute. And after Aquila, we will finish with another song played by the music workshop. Okay, so Aquila, bienvenida, adelante.
Francisco Pérez Santana, jefe de la misión diplomática venezolana. Andreina Bermúdez Di Lorenzo, coordinador académica al instituto. Curtis King, ministro de Educación. La senadora Kisal Peters, con responsabilidades en el Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores. Personal del instituto, profesores y estudiantes de todos los niveles que aprovechan la oportunidad de aprender otro idioma, otros dignatarios e invitados. Adiós por permitirnos estar aquí reunidos hoy. Buenas noches. Es para mí un inmenso placer pronunciar las palabras de clausura en otro cierre histórico, académico y cultural del semestre de actividades de enero a marzo en el instituto. Aunque no pudimos tener clases académicas y talleres cara a cara, los directores y profesores del instituto hicieron todo lo posible para que los estudiantes pudiéramos aprender el material necesitado. Nosotros, los estudiantes, estamos siempre agradecidos por todo el esfuerzo que se ha realizado para asegurar el aprendizaje del idioma español. Al Instituto Venezolano de Cultura y Cooperación Hugo Chávez Fría, a través de la Embajada de la República Bolivariana de Venezuela en San Vicente y al gobierno de San Vicente y las Granadillas, le damos gracias. ¿Dónde más en el mundo puedes estudiar otro idioma gratis? ¿Dónde? A pesar de las sanciones económicas impuestas por la administración Trump, la Embajada e Instituto Venezolano continúan fortaleciendo los lazos de amistad entre nuestros dos países. Nosotros, el pueblo de San Vicente, agradecemos a la Embajada y al Instituto por enseñarnos no solo el idioma, sino la cultura de Venezuela. Gracias y buenas noches. No, buenas noches. Buenas noches.
Bravo, Aquila, gracias. Gracias por tus palabras tan certeras y pertinentes. Muchas gracias. Quisiera, before play the another video, I would like to give the floor one of the students who asked me to give him 1 minute to say something. Adelante, Otto.
Gracias. Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Otto, soy de Nigeria. Yo soy estudiante de la Universidad de las Indias Occidentales. En nombre de la clase de nivel 1B, nos gustaría agradecer al instituto por la oportunidad de aprender español y también un agradecimiento especial a la profesora Violeta por ser una gran profesora, muy amable y paciente. Salud a mis compañeros de clase. Nos vemos en el nivel 2. Gracias.
Bravo, Otto. The head of mission is impressed because he's telling me that you are not in level 1.
You know Spanish before. You learn Spanish before, and you know Spanish from other classes. Tell the truth.
No, please.
No, please. Muy bien, Otto. Felicitaciones. Excelente.
Professor Wauleta did a good job with us. Thank you.
Otto. Muy bien. So, guys, listen to Otto. Inspirational, student, to speak and practice Spanish. As Professor San said before, you have to practice and speak and read and listen to, Spanish content. So now, I would like that you please turn your camera on, everybody, because we would like to take a picture, and then we will play the video where some students, and one of the students who is now in level 3, Frank Phillips, he is connected. Yes, hola Frank. He's also in this video with the song Linda Varina. So we will share this song as part of the end of this beautiful ceremony. So please turn your camera on because we would like to take a beautiful picture, please.
Everybody, camera on. Cindy, Ralita, Kalisha, Hadasha, Sasha, Harriet, Diana, Sania, Nichelle. Good. Perfect. All right, let me just... Some of you have no camera on yet, but I'm taking picture now. Raise your hand, go. Good. Who is this? Yeah. See.
Okay, guys, professors, thank you for attending this beautiful ceremony. I would like to say that each term we do better than before. So we have the best students in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the best professor. Yes. Thank you, Senator, for being with us until this time. Thank you, students, guys. Minister. Thank you, Minister of Education, National Reconciliation. Thank you. And with this activity, with this activity, our compromise is higher than before. Okay, with all of you guys. So enjoy this song, which is Linda Varina's to pay tribute as usual, to our commander Hugo Chavez.
Hey everyone, we are the music workshop from the IVCC SVG. Today we are going to play the song Linda Barrinas, written by Eliado Terrifi. We're going to play the song because it was one of Hugo Chavez's favorite. Hola a todos y a todas. Somos el taller de música. Vamos a tocar la canción Linda Barrinas, escrito por Eliado Tarifi. Vamos a tocar la canción porque Hugo Chávez se gustaba mucho. cuando te canto traigo del lado demostrando el colorido de tus poderes. Si bien sé que tus mujeres son las rosas y claveles, ella no de mis amores.
Tierra llanera, camino de palma y sol, donde se pone más bella siempre la tarde cuando matiza el paisaje. Pink celestial I revolve, linda Marina, tierra llanera, camino de palma y sol, donde se pone más bella siempre la tarde cuando matiza el paisaje. Pink celestial I revolve.
Well, brother, sister, student, professor, Minister King, Minister Kisa, Kim P, thank you very much to be here. Thank you, all of you. I appreciate so much your support. And we have a very high level for the next term. So next term we have to do better, much better than today. I hope that, well, at least one film we can record with this in the next level. All right, thank you very much. See you on April for the next term. See you. Bye. No, no.